we're going to talk about what saving $3,000 on a new MacBook, what that taught me about fitness. So a couple months back, my MacBook that I've had since 2019, it started slowing down. And I use this thing on a daily basis. Again, it was like 5 years old. And I'm like, all right, 5 years old for a laptop, it may be time for it to be updated or something or other. At least that's what, these tech companies have us believing when we're getting these iPhones every year. But so my MacBook, it started slowing down. Every Monday I have a 3-hour meeting. So it started to get really loud with the fans. It started slowing down. I would have a bunch of tabs open on Google, and then a bunch of tabs on Chrome. And then on Zoom, it started just lagging up, and it was pretty much unusable. And so around this time, I was thinking, I got to stop shopping around for a replacement MacBook, because this thing back in 2019 when I got it, it was like $3,000 because it's my daily driver. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just about that time. And so it had no problems before that. It was getting the job done. It was doing what I needed it to do. Everything was great. Things were moving nicely. But then all of a sudden, it's not doing what I needed to do. And so I had to figure out, what's the game plan? Should I just get rid of it, scrap it, and just get an entire new one? Or what can we do here? So what happened around this time is, I thought that I may need a new laptop, or being at 5 years old, I thought maybe the Apple overlords were just slowing it down purposely just to kind of, persuade me to get a new one. But over time, I was thinking, I was looking at what was going on, and it started to see that my MacBook was overheating. And so I went on Reddit one day and I was like, okay, so what can I do if my MacBook is overheating? Is there something I can do besides buy another one? And what I ended up finding is, a $20 kit. So I looked at my laptop. It said, if your MacBook is overheating, check the fans and see maybe it's clogged with dust. I didn't clean this thing since I got it from day one. And so I looked at it and I could see all this dust coming out of the actual vent. There was little black lines of just dust that was coming out of the fans. I was like, this is probably the issue. Went on Reddit, found somebody that said, here's a $20 kit, opened the thing up and found a YouTube video and was able to remove all the dust. And now it's working like it did on day one. So what I thought was a $3,000 problem, had to overhaul the entire laptop, was actually a $20 fix. And so how does this relate in any way to fitness? And so the point here that I want to talk about is this kind of shows how we don't always need to just completely overhaul what was already working. Oftentimes there are more simple solutions that we can just refine. And so when it comes to this, as far as in this topic, overhaul versus refining. So on our fitness journeys, you may be starting a program, you're hitting a calorie deficit, you're seeing strength gains, everything is moving very well. And then all of a sudden, things stop progressing so well. You see less PRs in the gym, your weight stagnates, and you just stop seeing that progress that maybe you did early on. And so at that point, it's kind of, what do I do here to keep things moving? A lot of people start jumping programs. Let's say you were tracking your macros, you're tracking your workouts, things are going well. You're like, oh, squats are great, bench press is great. And then you stop seeing that progress. Does that mean that strength training is bad? I got to go to HIIT training class. I got to start CrossFit. I need to stop tracking my macros. Let me go keto. Let me go vegan, paleo. And so a lot of people fall into this kind of situation where they just keep jumping program to program. They just completely overhaul their entire plan. But before thinking of overhauling or buying a $3,000 new laptop, how do we refine the thing and see if we can get progress going again? Because when it comes to fitness, the principles never change. To lose fat, we need a calorie deficit. To gain muscle, we're going to need progressive overload. We need to get stronger in the gym. And so we just need to stick these things out for the long period of time. And so when it comes to these things, if you are having success, maybe before you overhaul and completely jump ship to a new program or entire new methodology, how do we refine the program and see that we get progress again? So what I want to talk about is, how do we audit our progress and refine to get back to progress? So what this would look like is, what I would do in this case is, again, we're going to go over what are the principles. So principles. These are the principles for changing your body composition. We need to be in a calorie. So we're going to talk about fat loss and building muscle. We need a calorie deficit. We need protein intake. And we need progressive overload. We got to get stronger in the gym. And if we're accomplishing those three things, we're really stacking the box as far as, building muscle, building muscle, getting stronger, losing body fat. And so when progress slows, here are the things that I would look at before jumping ship entirely off the program I'm doing. Even if you are doing, let's say, keto, vegan, paleo, any kind of thing, if you're seeing progress in those first, let's say, 4 to 12 weeks, there may be something there that's working for you. So let's refine things because, again, these principles never change. The principles are always playing behind the scenes, no matter what game we play on top of those. We may be fixated on just eating more vegetables, but the game being played underneath is actually being in a calorie deficit. Are we getting more satiety per calorie, eating less calories, seeing that fat loss? So downstream, these are the games at play. So let's talk through this. So instead of an overhaul, how do we save $3,000 and do the $20 refinement just like the laptop? So what this would be is, first off, adjust your calories. Adjust your calorie intake. So if things stop, progressing, if you want to lose body fat and you're losing 1 to 2 pounds, and then all of a sudden you stagnate for like 3 or 4 weeks, how many calories are you eating? How many calories are you eating per day? Track them, because this is, again, it's a game that you may not be tracking. It's an underlying principle that calories in, calories out, even if you don't track them, calories count. And so what we want to do here is just like kind of audit, okay, like, am I eating less calories like I initially was? Did I start eating more keto cookies? Keto was working the first, 2 to 4 weeks, but then I found these keto cookies that are delicious and they're great. So my carbs are staying really low, but now I'm eating like 4,000 calories because I'm having 5 keto cookies a day. You may be in the keto club still, but you just added a lot of calories. Maybe you started adding a lot more butter to your foods. Calories go up, but you're still in the keto club. Maybe initially you just weren't as stocked in the house with these keto quote unquote options that a calorie deficit was happening. So the second thing that I would do in this situation is, what is our objective rate of loss? Evaluate this. Evaluate. So weigh in daily. Weigh in daily. Weekly average. What is our average weekly rate of loss? And a lot of people too, when they think that they have stagnated, they just get used to really quick progress in the beginning. Let's say that keto example. You may lose 10 pounds of weight in the first month, but it may not actually be body fat. You may have just lost, let's say, 5 pounds of water, because what happens with carbs in the GI is they hold a lot of water. So that is literal water weight. And so when we just kind of have that clear out of the GI just with time, and we're just having that more dense calorie source of fat that doesn't hold on to too much water, you just have less of that in your weight equation. So you may only be down 5 pounds of fat, but you think you're down 10 pounds. So then once you don't have that water weight inflating your rate of loss, now things are slowing down to, I'm just losing, 1 pound per week. But it's 1 pound of actual fat tissue, which you already were losing previous. You just don't have this inflated number because of the water that's leaving the body. So that's something there too. And a lot of times what I see with people is people think that they were getting really fast progress initially, and then when it slows, they're still moving at a good rate. They're still losing 1 to 2 pounds per week, but they're just not tracking it. It's just not every other day is a new PR or a new all-time low. So you're seeing 0.2 pounds, then up 0.4 pounds, then down 0.5 pounds. And so it's really just kind of nickel and diming its way down. But that's what normal fat loss looks like. So sometimes it's just the expectation. So it's good to evaluate that and get that objective rate of loss. The third piece, what is your step count? So evaluate kind of what those steps are. Did you start out that program and you were kind of getting out consistently? Were you getting more steps in? Did something change in that realm as well? Are you more, sedentary? And maybe you're just having less calories out in the equation. Is your training getting easier? You're not keeping up that intensity as previous. And now tackling that, if our progress in the gym slows down, instead of overhauling, strength training doesn't work. I got stronger for like 12 weeks. And now it's so hard to hit a PR. Even if you hit a PR every 4 weeks of 5 pounds, you're going to add 60 pounds to that exercise an entire year, which is an amazing PR. I would love to get 60 pounds on my bench press. I'd be hitting 405. Nowhere's close to that right now. And so it's also important expectations. So, but when it comes to you, let's say you hit a really sticky plateau, you are actually objectively not progressing too well when it comes to your strength. Maybe you are hitting 0 PRs for let's say, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, not even like little nickel and dimes of like beating your reps here and there. Maybe your joints feel a little bit achy. Does strength training not work? Or do we just need to freshen the exercises or avoid training or let's go, staleness. So after a long period of time, when you have exercises in the mix, let's say for like 16 weeks, if you're barbell squatting, it's a great exercise. And I would say like you may benefit on that on year 1, year 3, year 10. You're still going to make great gains doing barbell squats. But if you do it straight on through for, let's say, 24 weeks, you may get sick and tired of them. Your joints may be getting a little bit achy. You've only taken the progress as far as you can really go. And then it gets hard to kind of maintain that high level of progress or that performance at where you're at. So then maybe it's time to rotate your exercises. And so this is kind of a good thing to think about on maybe that 12 to 24 week span where you start rotating out some exercises, and then you make great progress with those exercises. And then you bring these back later when those get stale. And then you're like, wow, I'm at a new level of strength with these exercises because I built muscle tissue with something else, allowed myself to get excited to do these exercises again. It's kind of like if you like cake. Let's say you love birthday cake. You can't wait for your birthday party and you're going to get a red velvet cake. You love it. But now you just get so much cake that you have to eat it every single day for the next like month. After 30 days, you're like, I don't like cake anymore. So we need to take that cake away. You get a month with no cake, and then you're excited to have it again. Same thing with exercises. There's a value to rotating them out after a certain period of time. So probably in that 12 to 24 week range. But important stuff on that is red velvet cake is definitely the GOAT because we just speak facts here. So freshen the exercises, staleness. So it's not that strength training does not work. It's just you need to freshen up your exercises and then get strong at those again. So kind of this whole piece, kind of the point of the story of like the laptop, same thing happened to my AirPods, which I don't have with me right now, but same thing. The rubber tips on the AirPods, they started to rip. So I'm like, oh man, so I'm going to have to get another $250 pair of AirPods. But then I saw like, after looking on the internet a little bit, it's 2024, guys. I was able to find you can get like $10 for a new set of tips. I put those on, I'm like, good as new. And so I'm gonna wear those for another 5-10 years. So that's the cool thing too, is sometimes we don't need to overhaul and just like replace these things entirely. There's usually refinements or cleanups, just like removing the dust on a laptop, changing the ear tips on some AirPods, or just changing up your inputs in terms of a program that actually works, because the fundamentals stay the same. Just like with a laptop, I need to access Zoom, I need to access Chrome, I need to access Trainerize. But also when it comes to our fitness programs, you need to access a calorie deficit, progressive overload in the gym, and get your protein in. So we have these fundamentals that are always the game behind the scenes. So we just want to stay consistent there. And it often doesn't take us overhauling the entire plan. So to finish up piece on this, when we find something that works and then stops, try to find the ways that we can, refine, change, audit, and then find that progress again. Because when you find something that works, you're usually just a couple tweaks away from it working again, rather than just trying to try and find an entirely different plan that gets you where you want to go. And so remember the principles, don't overhaul, just redirect and clean up. And that's kind of the game plan here. So that's what I learned from saving $3,000 on a new MacBook and just cleaning out the dust rather than overhauling the MacBook. And that's kind of what it reminded me in terms of fitness, that you don't have to always overhaul the entire plan.